You can see that it starts in the lower part of face region. It is traversed to the all neck region, and finally it is finished in the upper part of the thorax region. It is reached the level of second, third, sometimes clavicle. What the function of this muscle, guys? Write and remember, please. Write, please. The passage of muscular fibers of the platysma. How muscular fibers of platysma pass? Look here, please. From up to down, and from medially to laterally. This is the passage of the fibers. Let's say from up to down, and from medially to laterally. From up to down, from medially to laterally. What is important, guys? Look here. Then I will come to innervation once again. By midline of the neck, right and left platysma muscle doesn't attach to each other. Between them there are space. As I remember, please, by midline of the neck, right and left platysma. How you can modulate it platysma? Easily. Closed fingers put to your neck and attach to each other enough. Let's say this will be your platysma. Look, your fingers doesn't attach to each other by midline. This is the position of platysma. Let's say, remember please, by middle line of the neck, right and left platysma doesn't attach to each other. But, 1 minute, look here please. Near the mandible, in submental triangle, this triangle we call submental, right and left bellies of platysma muscles attach to each other. Right and left bellies of platysma attached to each other. One is light to another. Let's say, remember it, please. And now innervation. Now look here, please. This is mastoid process. This is mastoid process. Okay. Let's say this is the jugular notch and the clavicle. Let's say our nervus facialis, which is located, you remember maybe, yeah? It is located inside of fossa retromandibulis. After we will study, don't worry. It gives one descending branch, branch A in our picture, which we call ramus coli. This ramus coli in its turn, this is the posterior margin of trapezius, yeah? In its turn, it is connected with branch B, which we call nervus transversus coli. Let's say these two nerves fuse to each other. They forms the new nerve, which is come to platysma. We call it arcus cervicalis superficialis. Superficial cervical arch. Now I'll come to the innervation. We say that platysma innervated by two sources. First one, it is nervus facialis. Second one, it is plexus cervicalis. Right, please, now. Branch of nervus facialis, which we call ramus coli nervi facialis. Branch of nervus facialis, which we call ramus coli nervi facialis. Fused with side. And you can see the muscle, which is great visible here. This is musculus sternocleidomastoideus. Right, one my SCM muscle will be constricted. Look here, please. It tilts the head in the same side, but it is rotated face in the opposite side. You see? Look, one muscle. And then it is constricted. It tilts the head in the same side, but rotated face in the opposite side. Look. You see? Then both is constricted together. Let's say head is come to this side, but face, look. Let's say head come to here, but faces goes to the opposite side. Then both will be flexed together. Look. They constricted together. My head goes to upwards and it come to the vertical. Yeah? Then they will dilate it together, vice versa. It will goes to downwards. Then they flex together. Head come to the vertical position. About dilatation, putting muscles is damaged. We have special situation, right? How we write it? We call it tortical damage by trauma, by burn, by infection. That's why it gives the constriction, and it is tilt the head in that side and neck to the opposite side. Let's say if you will see the person in that position, let's say in this side, in which side head is tilted. In that side, the sternocleidomastoid muscle is damaged. Let's say if we have one-sided damage of sternocleidomastoid muscle, it gives the special symptom which we call torticollis. It means head is tilted in this position, face goes to the opposite side. How you will understand which muscle? Face will look to the opposite side, head will tilt to this side. Torticollis, remember it please. Two types of the nerves. 12 nerves of our body start from the brain. We call it cranial or craniocerebral nerve, like the nervus accessorius, which I said you before. All another our nerves start from spinal cord. We call these nerves spinal nerves. Sometimes in some places of our body, the spinal nerves forms the plexuses, like the cervical plexus, the brachial plexus, lumbar plexus, and sacral plexus. Let's say there are four main plexuses of our body: cervical, brachial, lumbar, and sacral. Let's say, remember please, let's say we can have innervation of muscles or from cranial nerves or from cervical nerves. Is it understandable for you? Okay, right. Number one, it is posterior belly. Number two, it is anterior belly. This is hyoid bone, yeah, place of its attachment. Let's say if I will open my fingers and put it just below the mandible, this will be posterior belly. It is come to the mastoid process. This will be anterior belly. Angle will be attached to the hyoid bone. Let's say, remember please, musculus digastricus has two bellies, anterior belly and posterior. Right. Let's say from mastoid process of the temporal bone started the posterior belly. It is come up to our hyoid bone and it is attached to our hyoid bone. Place of attachment to hyoid bone we call intermediate tendon. Let's say this is the tendon. From the tendon, from hyoid bone, anterior belly is started, which is finished in the digastric fossa of the mandible. Let's say once again, it is originated, posterior belly originated from mastoid process. It is come and attached to hyoid bone. From hyoid bone, anterior belly is started, which is come to attach to the digastric fossa. Idea is understandable for you. Continue please. Let's say this is posterior belly. From up to down, from posteriorly to anteriorly. This is anterior belly. From down to up, from posteriorly to anteriorly. Continue please. Function of this muscle. Press the mandible, but in the same time it is lift the hyoid bone because they connected to each other. It's a depression of mandible and lifting of the hyoid bone. This is the main depression. They connected to each other, yeah? Then the mandible will be depressed, however, hyoid bone little will be pulled to upwards. Is it understandable for you? Okay. And mandibularis. Let's say right please. Anterior belly, inner one gives alveolaris inferior. Alveolaris inferior gives submentalis, which is innervated exactly this muscle. Let's say finally you will say it is innervated by nervus submentalis, which is branch of nervus alveolaris inferior. Is it understandable for you? Continue please. It is digastricus. Second muscle, which is little bit in front of posterior belly of digastricus. This is stylohyoid muscle. Look here please. Musculus stylohyoideus. Let's say digastricus, musculus stylohyoideus. Let's say little bit the place of my line is changed. 1 minute I will put it in its place normally. Let's say stylohyoid muscle, yeah? The second one here. Let's say it will be here. Is it understandable for you guys? Let's say once again, look here please. This is digastricus one, posterior belly and anterior belly. Little in front of posterior belly of digastricus, we have stylohyoid muscle. Right please. Process. Let's say stylohyoid muscle start from styloid process and finish in the hyoid bone. Now, if these muscles will be constricted, both hyoid bone will come to up and will goes to the back. Because, my friends, remember forever, then the muscle is constricted, it is goes to its place of starting. If it is start from styloid process, then it will be constricted, hyoid bone will goes to up and to the back, to the side of styloid process. This is usual for any muscle. During the constriction, muscle goes to the place of its starting. Let's say everything which is attached to this muscle will go with the muscle together to this place. If it is start from styloid process, come to hyoid bone, then it will be constricted. Our hyoid bone will go to up and to the back. Right place. This muscle we call mylohyoid muscle. Everybody, please put your finger just in the floor of your oral cavity here. The muscle which you palpated from upwards, it is mylohyoid muscle. 1 minute I will take the symbol, and up to the midpoint of the body of hyoid bone we have raphe of mylohyoid muscle, which is the place of fusing between right and left mylohyoid muscle. Let's say, remember please, once again, mylohyoid muscle, yeah, it starts from mylohyoid line and it is finished in hyoid bone. Now, then it will be constricted, mandible will goes to down, hyoid bone will goes to upwards, because they connected to each other by this muscle. Let's say, remember please, it is depress the mandible and it is pull upwards the hyoid bone. Next muscle, right please, it is geniohyoid, and it goes just to downwards and it is finished in the hyoid bone. That's why from here up to here. This is the place of its location. Right please, action of anterior belly of the gastricus. Stylohyoid muscle from processus styloideus up to the hyoid bone. Mylohyoid muscle, it is the floor of our oral cavity. Deep to mylohyoid muscle we have geniohyoid muscle, which is start from the mental spine and finish in the body of it. Now right please, imagine that we are two bones and the stick which we hold together, this is some muscle. Now I say that muscle start from me and finish in our friend. Sit down please. Can he say in same time that vice versa, muscle started from him and finished in my hand? It will be functionally same or different. Please. 2 minutes before I say answer of this question. Once again, now, is it same to say the stick start from me in case if it is muscle and finish in our friend? Or to say it is start from him and finish to me? In case of stick it is same. But if it will be muscle, it will be same or no? And what will be different?
No, when you contract it goes to the front position.
Let's say remember, dears, the main difference will be direction of the work of the muscle. Mainly during constriction, muscle come up to the place of origin. Let's say mainly, I don't say only, but mainly, if this muscle will constrict it, our friend will come to me, not I will go to him. Partly I will go to him also, like I say you before. You remember I say muscle, for example, the geniohyoid, start from the mandible and finish in hyoid bone. I say it is depress the mandible, but in same time pull to upwards the, but mainly guys, of course it will pull upwards the hyoid bone. Why? Because it is start from the mandible. Little bit, of course, it will depress the mandible also. Why I tell it you guys? Let's say, look here please. If this muscle, sternohyoid, start from the sternum and finish in the hyoid bone, of course by its action it will pull down the hyoid bone, then it will be constricted. Let's say right please. Action of this. Number 2, it is sternothyroid muscle. This is oblique line of thyroid cartilage. That's why it is start from inner surface of the sternum and first rib, and it is finished in the oblique line of thyroid. Say every function of it, then it will be constricted. Guys, it's so logical. If it is finished in the thyroid cartilage, it will pull down the thyroid cartilage. That's the action. Upper points will come to downwards. That's why it is depress thyroid cartilage to down. Muscle now. Thyrohyoid. If previous finish in the oblique line of thyroid cartilage, this is start from oblique line, right please. Muscle number 4, which you see in the picture, it is omohyoid muscle. 1 minute attention, my friends, look please here. Why here it's not so good visible? Because it is passed behind of sternocleidomastoid muscle. And exactly behind of sternocleidomastoid muscle, it will be divided into superior belly and inferior belly. That's a intermediate tendon of this muscle, located just behind of SCM muscle. Let's say up to SCM, we have superior belly of this muscle. It's not good visible here, that one. Here is SCM. Below the SCM, we have inferior belly of this muscle. Let's say, remember please, SCM, for example, this is SCM muscle. This is SCM muscle. This is SCM muscle. This is hyoid bone. And that is omohyoid muscle. Let's say intermediate tendon of it will be behind of SCM muscle. Number 1 will be superior belly. Number 2 will be inferior belly. Let's say right please. Muscle very specifically. Superiorly, guys, we have nervus hypoglossus, which you know, yeah, both muscles. Now 1 minute attention. Nervus hypoglossus gives the superior root of ansa cervicalis. And from plexus cervicalis started nervus transversus colli. It gives the inferior root of ansa cervicalis. Let's say ansa cervicalis originated not only from plexus cervicalis, but from 2 sources. From nervus hypoglossus and from plexus cervicalis. Let's say nervus hypoglossus gives superior root of ansa cervicalis. Plexus cervicalis gives inferior root of ansa cervicalis. Is it understandable? Let's say one root comes from upwards, second root comes from downwards. They fuse to each other and together they form ansa cervicalis, which is innervated all infrahyoid muscles. Guys,